Good afternoon, December 1st, 2020. You're looking at a diatomic molecule known as nitrogen gas. This is the most abundant gas in our atmosphere, something like 78 parts out of 100, or 78%. The rest of the 100% is 20%, 1% oxygen, and less than 1% CO2. So a very abundant gas in our atmosphere. Very important in terms of living things, as we'll see. So let's look at nitrogen in terms of the periodical table first here. So I'm going to start on the left side. I'm going to look at group 1. We're going to concentrate on lithium to start with. We go over to beryllium. As we move across the page, we got boron, then carbon, then nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. All those elements I just mentioned are part of the same row or period 2. Okay, you can see helium up there in the top right. That's part of period 1 or row 1. So remember nitrogen as an element in period 2. Also note that nitrogen's in what they call group 15, or what I call 5. A group is a vertical column of elements. So you got in group 15, or what I call 5, you got nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, etc. Okay? All right, so group, and then we got the period, right? Let's look at the element box. I'll call it the element box for nitrogen. Upper left, you have the atomic number. Atomic number 7. Nitrogen has 7 positive charges, or protons, in its nucleus. Now look at the atomic mass, which is 14. Take 14 minus 7, that'll give you the number of neutrons in the nucleus, or neutral charges, okay? So in terms of electrons, another subatomic particle other than protons and neutrons, that's a negative charge. Electrons orbit the nuclei, right? Their mass is much less than the protons and neutrons. So they orbit the nuclei and get involved in bonding. Okay. Let's look at a model, what they call a Bohr model, B-O-H-R. You can see the nucleus with 7 positive charges, 7 protons, then 7 neutrons, or 7 neutral particles. So the nuclei have 14 particles altogether. That's your atomic mass. Then you have your electrons. And note they're in 2 shells. The outer shell has 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5. Remember, nitrogen's in group 5. So if you're in group 5, you're going to have 5 electrons in your outermost shell, or 5 valence electrons. Note that we have 2 electrons in the first shell, so the 2 and the 5 makes 7. And note that we have 2 shells, thus period 2 or row 2, right? So let me ask you a couple questions here. How many electrons in the outer shell of phosphorus? You're probably going to say 5, because we're in the same group as nitrogen. How many shells would carbon and oxygen have? Same period as nitrogen, therefore 2. Okay? You go down to chlorine, you all see chlorine, Cl. You're going to have how many electrons in your outer shell? You're in group 17 or 7, thus 7. You're in period 3, so you're going to have 3 shells. Sulfur, you have 6 electrons in the outer shell. You're going to be, they're going to occupy 3 shells. All right, so some of you chemistry students have already had that, okay? But I just wanted to kind of review it and teach it for the first time with some of you other guys. All right, so there's your background on nitrogen. So let's look at the importance of nitrogen in biological compounds, or otherwise compounds you find in living things. You got hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein that coats the red blood cells of animals. And hemoglobin is responsible for attracting oxygen molecules and then delivering that oxygen to the cells. DNA is a nucleic acid. It's known as deoxyribonucleic acid. It's the blueprints of life. It also contains nitrogen. ATP is your energy transfer compound, known as adenosine triphosphate, another nitrogen-containing compound. Real important. Delivers that energy to the cells. Melanin is a protein you find in your skin. It's a pigment in your skin. Another nitrogen-containing compound. Cellulase is an enzyme. Anything that ends in N-A-S-E is a protein enzyme. Cellulase breaks down cellulose. Chlorophyll, you got to have nitrogen to build chlorophyll. We know that chlorophyll is an absolute in terms of photosynthesis. Then all amino acids and proteins have nitrogen. So nitrogen is a super important element in living things that make up the biological compounds. So we're going to talk in our next video how this molecule, nitrogen gas, in our atmosphere is somehow assimilated into the biological compounds. Must need some help, and I'll show you who's going to help out to get this nitrogen to, let's say, the plant world first. Okay? It's amazing. So there it is. I'll review a little bit with you, maybe in class. So nitrogen gas, 78% of the atmospheric gases in our atmosphere. Period 2, group 5, atomic mass 7, as you were, atomic number 7, atomic mass 14. 7 protons, 7 neutrons, and 7 electrons in our Bohr model, right? 2 shells, 2 in the first shell, 2 electrons in the first shell, and 5 in the outer shell. 7 positive charges, protons in the nucleus, and 7 neutral charges in the nucleus, known as neutrons. Okay? We got period, and then you got the groups, okay? So, you guys have a good evening. Keep sending those posted assignments. Let's raise that grade. God bless you. Hope to see you soon.